So after 2 years of a global pandemic, I can finally get back to doing what I love most in this world, which is traveling. And with that, it's my privilege to welcome you to one of the nicest cities in the world. Welcome to Stockholm. So, as Alyssa Edwards once said, I'm back again, and I could not be happier to be finally travelling again after 2 years. The last time I left the UK was January 2020, and I couldn't have picked a better location than picturesque Stockholm to start these videos again. You know, I almost stopped doing these videos because during the pandemic I was made redundant from my travel agent job, which was how I was able to travel so much in the first place. And I had to do a lot of soul searching of if I wanted to continue this, but I remember the reason why I started making these videos was because I wanted to give something back to the world, just share my passion and give tips and tricks to people who also just want to share the passion of travel. And I'm really happy to be here and doing these videos again, and I'm gonna keep doing them. So let's go travel and explore Stockholm. Stop number one had to be the Abba Museum. I came here first because it's the first question people ask you when you tell them you've been to Stockholm. Oh my god, did you go to the Abba Museum? So I came here first to get that question out of the way. I would also just recommend coming here first of all because the Abba Museum is located on Dew Island, which is quite a fair walk away from central Stockholm. In fact, Dew Island, which in Swedish means the Royal Park, might as well be called Museum Island because every single major museum and gallery is located on this island. So absolutely, come here first, get out of the way. The museum itself, it's not huge, but at the same time it's not small. I spent a good solid hour looking at all the exhibits here. It was 270 Swedish krona with the guidebook, which came to around 21 British pounds. So a bit pricey, but absolutely worth it. So if you're an ABBA fan or just a general pop music fan, you absolutely have to come here because it was just really insightful learning all about the history of ABBA and also the future of ABBA. As we know, they've got the new album and tour coming up, and just how this pop institute changed the world. Definitely a great first place to come in Stockholm. After the kitsch of the Abba Museum, it's time for some real Swedish history and culture, and you'll find that right down the road in the Vassa Museum, which you can identify from the metal masts behind me all around Stockholm. Now, the Vassa was a 17th century warship in Sweden that sank on its maiden voyage, was refound 300 years later in the harbour of Stockholm, brought back up to the surface, and is now stored here in its refurbished state. And if that sounds familiar to you, you're right, it does bear eerily resemblance to the story of the Mary Rose in England. So the story of the Vassa is, at the time, the King of Sweden was King Gustav Adolphson, and he was waging war with Poland as part of the greater Protestant Catholic struggles, where him being a Protestant king wanted to get dominance over Catholic territory. And he had ordered the creation of this great warship that would be the symbol of his power. He was quite a vain king in that regard, but when he was waging war in Poland, he ordered the Vassa to come to him directly before it was finished, and the Vassa was completely furbished with gold paint and models of Roman emperors and King David all around the ship to make him look that he was a king that would bring the Swedish people to victory, that he was ordained by God. But as fate would have it, because he had ordered the ship to come to him before it was ready, the ship floundered and capsized on its maiden voyage outside of Stockholm. So that's the story there. But now you can come see it refurbished state, and when you see what they've done to it, it is honestly, even by today's standards, it looks humongous. So I definitely recommend that once you do the Abba Museum, come down the road and come to the Vassa Museum. Next stop on my tour today is the Nordica Museum right behind me, which is just located behind the Vassa Museum that I've just been to. Now, for such a big, grand building as this, as you can see behind me, the Nordica Museum's exhibits are actually quite quaint in comparison. So this museum houses exhibits related to the traditions of Sweden and Scandinavian people, told through the likes of fashion, food and festivals, and a tiny bit of art. It's actually the quickest museum I've been through today. There actually isn't a lot that takes up your time, but it was also the cheapest museum of the day, and it's been an insight into more of the old art styles and clothing that I wasn't really in the know about in regards to Sweden. So it's been insightful that way, and I wouldn't really say this is a must-see, but if you're in the area, I'd say why not? And so that is day one in Stockholm all done, and I think I definitely made the right decision to just spend today getting the museums I wanted to go out the way, because I started the day with the Abba Museum at around 10:30 a.m. It's now 4 p.m. after the last museum of the day is done, with the sun just coming down. Oh yeah, it's March by the way, which is why the sun's going down a bit early, but it's honestly used up the whole day, and now tonight I'm going out with friends, so now I'm on my way back to my hotel room, just get ready for that. And tomorrow's plan is to go to the Old Town and the Swedish Palace, where the royal family live, so hopefully I'm not too hungover for that. Okay, it's another day in Stockholm, and my first point of call is the Royal Palace right behind me. Now, this is still the royal residence of King Carl XVI and the rest of the royal Swedish family, but it is open to the public. For 160 krona, which is roughly around 12 British pounds, you can get access to the royal apartments and the castle ruins below, because this place was built in the 1700s after the original royal castle burned down, but below the palace there are still ruins of the castle that you can check out, which is pretty cool. So let's go have a look. Once you're done with the palace, the area of Stockholm that you'll actually find yourself in is called Gamlastan, which means the old town. And together with the palace, you've got the Nobel Prize Museum here, and it's basically the picturesque area of Stockholm where all the tourists congregate, because here you have the old architecture that Scandinavia is known for. You have all the cobbled pavings. Here is where you'll find all the souvenir shops and tourist restaurants and cafes. So once you're done with the palace, absolutely have a wander around Gamlastan, because it is basically the prettiest part of Stockholm. Now, something I always have time for in any city is an observation deck. I always think you don't know a city until you can actually be above it and get the full picture. And Stockholm has an amazing one right behind me. So this is the Avicii Arena. It's still commonly known by its old name of Globen, but after Avicii died, they renamed it in his honor. Now, this place is the world's largest spherical building, and it is a massive indoor arena. It's their national ice hockey arena. Any large concert that usually happens in Stockholm, they host it here, and it's hosted 2 Eurovisions as well. And you can see right behind me, it's basically a massive golf ball, but the observation deck goes all the way to the top. You're in these pods, and it gives you a 360 view of the entire city. So if you want to get the best view of Stockholm, you have to come here. You can buy the tickets online, or you can just come on the day and get them. That I've come to Stockholm this weekend is because I got tickets to see Melodifestivalen. And if you don't know what Melodifestivalen, or Melfest for short, is, it's Sweden's national competition to select their Eurovision song every year. Now, I probably haven't sold it to you just saying that, but let me tell you this, that they hold it in the Friends Arena, which is Sweden's version of Wembley, in that the Swedish national team for football play there. 25,000 people go there to watch this show, and the production value, the quality of songs, the atmosphere, it's honestly one of the best pop concerts I've ever been to in my life, like out of this world. So if you ever are lucky enough to try and get tickets for Melfest, go. Or just try and come here. It is one of the best things I've ever seen. And that was Sweden. So now I've got my little Swedish flag pin, and I get to pin it to my map of the world and all the other places I've been. There you go. So I hope this video can help you if you're ever in Stockholm. I hope you enjoyed my little tips and tricks. I'm so happy to be just traveling again. The only thing I forgot to mention is if you do go to Stockholm, from the airport, get the Orlando Express train, because the money is just worth it to be from the airport to central Stockholm within 10 minutes. Otherwise, you have to wait for buses and taxis, and just going to cost you more and take so much longer. So yeah, biggest tip for getting from the airport, get the Orlando Express. Other than that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.